Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors, as always, to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. News and prophecy, where we link the things happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures, so that the faithful elect and remnant can have a viewpoint of what's happening worldwide, all right, through the Holy Scriptures, as the prophets, all right, have received, all right, the oracles from on high to go into the volume of the book and discern these things. As we see these things happening, all right, we report on them to show you how close we are to the end of Esau's world and the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, as we are in a age of absolute chaos, madness, confusion, pride, all right, and demonic activity is on your left, your right. Everywhere you look, you're seeing confusion. And if you're not in tune with the Holy Spirit, eventually you can become lost. I don't care how so-called woke you are. If you don't have the Holy Spirit to guide you in these days, you'll become lost. As you have particular people who are against, in the grand scheme of things, they may be against the plan of the MOTB. They may be against the plan of the elite. But overall, they want, all right, Esau, Edom, and his government, just in their eyes, a governor or a ruler who will be fair. You know, they want this to continue in the grand scheme of things. But which shows you they're drunk. Okay, so you can have someone who knows the MOTB is the chip. You can have someone who knows that, you know, the current regime ruling is wicked. They could talk about the bankers, but what is their hope? Their hope is that things, you know, simmer out, and that ultimately, you know, America continues in a righteous, you know, under a, not a righteous, I wouldn't say, but you know what I'm saying. Basically, America continues, you know, you know, America is made great again. You know, you have people who are drunk off that, even certain Israelites, certain Jake, you know, this guy, Anton Daniels, you listen to him and, you know, as long as they can have a piece of the pie and, you know, have their little so-called riches, they're okay. All right. They're not calling for, all right, the destruction of Babylon the Great. They're not calling for heaven on earth, because when you deal with the concept of heaven, the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. That's why in our prayer we say on earth as it is in heaven, because right now the earth is under, all right, has been given into the hands of the wicked. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's start there in the book of Job 9:24. All right. As we get into a few happenings, because there's a lot happening. There's a lot of enchantments. There's a lot of witchcraft. There's a lot of rituals openly happening right before your very eyes. All right. And through the Spirit, you know, hopefully we can get through some of them and you be edified. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay. When was the earth given unto the hand of the wicked? He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? If you look around the world, okay, there is a moral code that is corrupt. Corruption, all right, evil, wickedness just continues to happen, and there's no real judgment, you know, done about it, because the judges thereof have been covered. Which, who are the true judges of this earth? Let's get it. And let's see if I can get that. Boom. Psalms 122:5. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. Okay, and right now, the code of the law, statutes, and commandments, the authority of Yahweh Shai, you know, who's going to establish that government, is not currently in place. So right now, the earth is ran under the moral code or the judgment of the wicked. Yeah, they covered, you know, the true images of the Israelites through iconoclasm, but more so, you see the judgment All right. As Habakkuk tells you, all right, let's get it. The law is slack. Let's get Habakkuk, the first chapter, right? Habakkuk 1 and 4. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceeded. You see, that's what's happening in the world. All right. Corruption is being spread. We're seeing more and more evil. Okay. You even deal with the talking point of the Epstein list. The fact that that's not out, the fact that no one's been arrested, the fact that, there's just this gray area surrounding it, which the Epstein list is just 0.2% of 100 of what these devils are really doing around the earth. Okay. So with the earth being given into the hand of the wicked, all right, now my days are swifter than the post. They flee away. They see no good. All right. You see no good. Again, Psalms 29 and 2. All right. Or Proverbs 29 and 2, Salakia. Let's get Proverbs 29 and 2. It's a little early here, but the Spirit got on me to get up before I get my day started and get a lesson out. I was going to go into the aspect of the lake of fire and being Babylon the Great, but I'll get this out and then I'll do that one. Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear the rule, the people mourn. All right. So everybody's mourning. Okay. Heathen are mourning. Of course, Jake is mourning. Everybody's in a position of just confusion, perplexity. Like, damn, as this Trump regime has taken root, things have not gotten better for the working class American. Okay. Let's see here. Proverbs 28 and 12. When righteous men do rejoice, there is great glory. But when the wicked rise, a man is hidden. You have to hide your true intent. Okay. Manhood is frowned upon in this world, and to truly have an opinion or a discourse about the realities of what's happening before us, that's kind of like looked down upon. Now, what I wanted to start with in this news and prophecy is this whole fiasco with Elon Musk so-called leaving the White House, which is, I believe it's 130-day term was up, but there's supposedly divisions between him and Trump. He can't take the heat of being, called out for some of the things he did. But let's listen to this a little bit and we'll get into it, because these are rituals happen right before your face. You're seeing enchantments, rituals. All right. And one thing that is continuously happening, no matter what Jake says, no matter what naysayers say, the elite are moving forth with their agenda of a new world order. Okay.
It's kind of a rough last day in government for Elon Musk, who showed up to the Oval Office for some kind of send-off with a black eye.
Now, that's the first, if you've been watching, all right, if you pay attention to so-called conspiracies, there's a conspiracy or certain notable Edomites or members of Hollywood who always pop up with these black eyes. Okay. As you can see here, Doja Cat had the black eye. All right. I believe David Icke went into it. Katy Perry, I don't know. Adam Sandler, black eye. Jennifer Lopez, black eye. You have all of the Britney Spears had it. Pharrell had it. As a matter of fact, there's a picture of people who just popped up out of nowhere who deal in this field. The certain, Prince Philip, Adam Sandler. You have all these people who popped up with this black eye. Barack Obama had it. Okay. Now you see this guy, Elon Musk, with it. And we're not going to get too much into the conspiracy because at the end of the day, we know it's just the wicked at work. We ain't got to try to get to the nitty gritty of which, section of the Masonic, at the end of the day, let's just fulfill it in the wicked. Okay. They're up to something. They're working mischief. As a matter of fact, that's one of the, Because that's what it is. Job 15:35. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, in their belly prepared deceit. They're up to something. Okay? Because you have this guy, Elon Musk. All right. It comes out that he's always high on drugs. And this is what Esau does anyway. You think you're telling us something that we don't already know? They're supposed to be, he's addicted to, psych meds and ketamine. As a matter of fact, look at this guy as Trump was talking. Just look at him. Look at this nigga here. All right. And again, the wise men of Esau is being made a fool of, man. These people are through, but they're at the forefront of telling you what you're gonna do, the wave in which the new world is gonna go. Look at them, though.
In case we win, we can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But
look at this guy.
It's been acting very nicely. I think Colombia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well, and there are other institutions too that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot.
So Edom is through. All right, we're at the end of Esau's world. And again, we know that these are players put in place by the powers that be. Okay, they try to, parade this man around as he's the richest man in the world. That's skewing your perspective of what's really going on. He's not the richest man in the world. All right, you're not going to see the richest man in the world, but there's a conspiracy going around. It's been going on for ages. When these people pop up with their black eyes. Okay, it's tied to some sort of there you go. Here's a video on it. Conspiracy theory suggests celebs with black eye are Illuminati. Okay, and it's been going on for ages. You'll see them pop up. So it's very interesting that this guy pops up with the black eye, which he say he got it from toying around with his son. Okay, all we know is that the wicked. All right. Remember, he said he's dark MAGA. All right. And we'll get into that. But let's keep going here.
Just hours after new bombshell reporting on allegations of his voracious drug use. In a lengthy article citing people familiar with his activities in Europe.
And all you Edomites are on drugs. Okay. Again, they throw these little scandals out to keep your mind captivated. Look, come on, man.
Times reports that Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. I learned that today from the New York Times. Didn't know that. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms.
This is the richest man in the world. This is the type of problems that the richest people in the world have. All right? You got robots, all right, and AI, ChatGPT, all of these things, but look at the lives they live. Okay, they're through. Okay, here it is. They have all of these riches, all of this, but they're unhappy. They're addicted to drugs. They're through. The Edomite is out of there, man. Okay, this is the end of Esau's world, man. Okay, this is just one aspect of it.
And he traveled with a daily medication box that he held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. The Times adds that while his drug use on the campaign trail was more than occasional, it is unclear whether he was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House this year.
All right, and let's wise men. Forget what scripture it is. Let's see here. This is the book of Isaiah 44:25 that frustrated the token of liars and make it diviners mad, that turn it wise men backwards and make it their knowledge foolish. So Esau Edom is being found out to be a damn fool, okay, in the grand scheme of things. And this is the end of Babylon the Great, okay? And we're going to get into a few things. Let's play this real quick because, getting an overview of him leaving and departing the office. I just said, could you summarize Elon Musk leaving the White House? Okay. It says Elon Musk has officially stepped down from his role in the Trump administration. All right, but the imprint is already there. As head of the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, okay, concluding a 130-day tenure marked by controversy, policy clashes, and public scrutiny. Expiration of temporary appointment, policy disagreements, internal conflicts, public controversies, okay, business tensures, all right, and so forth. So, at the end of the day, we're seeing Egyptian against Egyptian, all right, but we also know that these are open enchantments, okay? As a matter of fact, let's get the book of Isaiah 47, all right? This is the book of Isaiah 47 and 12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now thou astrologers, stargazers, monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from the things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. And this is tied to what? The daughter of Babylon. That's going to be the lake of fire that the Bible talks about, man. Okay, but we'll get into that in another lesson. What I wanted to do, let's get this out of here. Okay, because you can see the whole black eye thing, which clearly is a left-handed ritual. Said his son gave him a black eye. Okay, and there's a lot of the whole panda bear ritual. It's all kind of wickedness these devils got going on. Sometimes it's just best to fulfill it, and it's just the wicked being wicked. Okay.
Ones that help produce those numbers, and it'll only get better. The tariffs are so important, and that's why we were so happy with the decision yesterday, where the tariffs continue, because without the tariffs, our nation would be imperiled. We would really be imperiled. I think I can say.
All right. So, you can look more into that if you would like to, but let's go here. Let's start here. Is this the fall of the American empire? Let's check this out, a little bit of this, and then we'll move forward with a few things.
The golden age of America begins right now.
And what is a golden age? Okay, and this is ultimately where the Edomite is, where they're trying to make a name for themselves. This is how we can link this to the Tower of Babel. You see that? Which, this everything that we see happening, it's all a fulfillment of that all over again. That which is then is now. History merely repeats itself. When you look at this golden dome, we're going to tap into that a little bit. Everything is Starlink. It's all linked together. All right. These devils are up to no good, and they're preparing to fight against the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Now, I typed here, what is a golden age? Because they had a golden age in ancient Rome. A golden age refers to a period of great peace, prosperity, and cultural flourishing, which they're doing through left-hand means, technology, and all of this madness, and stability in a civilization's history. It's more often viewed as a mythic or ideal era, sometimes exaggerated in retrospect, but generally marked by major achievements in art, science, governance, and social cohesion. All right, and you had the Pax Romana, and they're trying to bring peace to their, this thing called America. Okay, but the Heavenly Father and these other nations have other plans. Okay.
We will be the envy of every nation. I will very simply put America first.
And meanwhile, you Americans are losing jobs. AI is already starting to take over your jobs. Your groceries are higher. And you keep asking the everyday Trump supporting American, which we had a conversation with one yesterday at the camp. I have to clip it and make it a video of its own. And he was like, I like what Trump is doing, but you ask him, well, when are things going to work out for the everyday Americans? Like, things are getting worse for people who go to work every day and who really are the backbone of this society, continuing. And he said, well, not yet. We haven't got a benefit yet, but we just have to wait. Well, that's what Trump has been telling you all. Just wait. All right. Just wait. Meanwhile, all right, the rich get richer. The elites continue with their plans for NWO, mass surveillance. AI's taking over every goddamn thing. The talking point of a microchip, which the Edomite yesterday said he would take the chip. Okay. So Trump got these people right where he want them. All right, but there is a remnant of people. Of course, you have the remnant of Israel, but there are a remnant of even Edomites who are, bucking up against this madness. All right, but remember when Elon got in there, or when he was introduced, don't think for 1 minute the agenda has now stopped. Okay, they're all doing the same thing, but they're hiding it under different terms. All right, let's listen to this again.
The golden age of America begins right now. We will be the envy of every nation. I will very simply put America first.
No empire lasts forever. The Dutch, the British, and even the Romans all eventually fell. And now it seems we have another to add to the list.
There you go. All empires fall, and empires usually last about 250 years. America is coming up on its 250th year. All right? And when John, the Revelator, saw the vision of the lake of fire, this is what he saw, engulfed in fire. Okay?
Almost a century, the American empire has enjoyed total dominance on the world stage. Despite only having 4% of the world's population, they account for 20% of global income, and this one country alone makes up almost 40% of the global military budget. But recently, this has been changing, and fast.
As the scriptures say, how is the hammer of the earth, all right, become a desolation among the nations?
2028, China is set to overtake the US as the world's largest economy, and for decades, it's been positioning itself at the center of a new world order, waiting for its moment to pounce. Since 2010, they've invested well over $1 trillion in developing countries around the world, building strategic alliances for the future. Meanwhile, the American world order has never seemed more fragile. Government debt has continued to pile up, and interest repayments now make up 1/6 of the annual budget, and decades of globalization are being unpicked right before our eyes. The trust America has spent generations building is slowly eroding, through tariffs, erratic policies, and a growing sense that the rules no longer apply. It has been warned that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This isn't just about one leader. It's about what happens when an empire starts to believe in its own invincibility, long after the foundations have started to crack. The question isn't just about Trump. It's about whether America has crossed a point of no return. The infighting has already begun. But can the American world order...
The infighting has already begun. Let's get Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Okay? Which is a beautiful thing. Isaiah 19:2. I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. So the Lord is destroying this place from the inside out. I mean, not only do you have division amongst the common everyday people, but you have division amongst your leaders. Okay? They don't agree. And, with this thing with Elon, it's all bread and circuses at the end of the day. But believe you me, these elites aren't agreeing. Okay, these governors, they aren't agreeing. There's a lot coming out. Some of them are holding things over. There's a lot of blackmailing going on. There's a lot of secrets coming out. The whole Pentagon thing. Okay, where you got people, threatening to bring out secrets on Trump because there are a lot of, because Doge came in and, just eliminating jobs. And a lot of Edomites in high positions, all right, got effed over. Okay, people who were making, $2 million a year up to, up from 300,000 a year, 200 a year. A lot of their jobs, they were, placed, misplaced. They had to, take other positions, travel further for their job. A lot of these Edomites are catching hell under what Elon and Trump came in doing. Okay, so you're starting to see the Egyptian versus the Egyptian, a lot of infighting. Okay. And they shall fight everyone against his brother. Everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Nothing but division. This is going to be the condition of the earth before the Lord sends his son back. Okay. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to idols and to charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to wizards. All right. AI. Okay. Is pretty much taken over, and some people are leaning on it, you know, to comfort them from the hell that's going on. Okay, people are leaning on idols, leaning on the left hand to make sense of this madness, but things for the average everyday people is getting worse. All right, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. All right. And as you, and we know Trump fulfills that. All right. Come on now. But as you read down, it's nothing but economic collapse. Okay. Economic collapse. Okay. And this is what we're seeing. Isaiah 19:11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. Right. The counsel of the wise counsels of Pharaoh has become brutish. And this is what we're seeing, man. Okay. And this is the modern day Zoan. Okay, when you deal with Egypt. Let's go back here.
Survive? Or are we already watching the opening act of a new global empire? The answer lies deeper than most think and begins years before today. Even a few decades ago, the idea that the American empire might start to crumble in the near future would have laughed you out of the room. By the 1990s, the country was celebrating the collapse of the Soviet Union. The dollar, already dominant, quickly became...
And now the Soviet Union is back, okay? But they have, you know, the more power this time. They have more, you know, they have, it's early. So my thoughts ain't all the way there. But when you deal with the Soviet Union, you know, NATO was created to combat it. And since then, you know, the Soviet Union under Russia's, you know, dominance kind of disbanded, but now they're back. And according to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, many nations are going to join with them. Now, we can get into this video more. You can watch it. Again, it's on the invisible hand. It's just the fall of the American empire. I like to watch videos like this. We're not going to go entirely into it in this video, but, you know, to sort of, you know, get understanding of what's happening. But America is being looked down upon, and it's no longer the powerhouse that it used to be. Okay, and Russia is leading a rebellion against the West. Okay, and you have many nations, including China, Iran, all right, joining with them, and it's ultimately gonna end in war. Okay, it's gonna ultimately end in the destruction of Babylon the Great. But I also wanted to get into this golden dome. Okay, that Trump is boasting in. Okay, let's get it here.
The Golden Dome for America is game changer.
President Trump's Golden Dome plan might look simple here, but if the $175 billion missile defense shield is going to work the way he wants it to, the U.S. will need to put technology into space that is incredible.
See that? Let's slow it down, because sometimes I speed it up. All right. Some people say they're talking too fast, but you know you can slow and speed down the speed of the video here by pressing this settings button. And you can do the playback speed. You can make it slower or faster. Okay. So let's go here.
The Golden Dome for America is game changer.
President Trump's Golden Dome plan might look simple here, but if the $175 billion missile defense shield is going to work the way he wants it to, the U.S. will need to put technology into space that is incredibly complex. In some cases, we're talking about satellites that don't even exist yet.
The only time that I can think of in the history of the United States where we have gone after something this complex was the Manhattan Project.
In the short term, experts say we'll probably see more existing defense systems placed around the country. Long term, those systems will have to interact with hundreds of satellites that are supposed to detect, track, and eventually even intercept high-tech missiles from space.
So, again, it's under the guise of a defense, but really what this is the same thing Starlink. As a matter of fact, I typed in here, can Trump's Iron Dome be linked with Starlink? All right. It says there is no publicly verified evidence that Trump's proposed Iron Dome defense, because again, it's all centered around peace and safety. Okay. And this is where we are, the Edomite. All right. Because there's threats from, Russia, China, they're going to shoot missiles over here. So now America has been on the offense so long, it has not worked on its defense. All right. America is wide open for an attack because they're spread too thin. That was one of the issues with the ancient Western Roman Empire before it fell. They were involved in too many conflicts. Their military was spread too thin, and Rome became wide open. Look over here. You got all kind of immigrants just flooding into your country. You got, the China immigrants. You don't know what their intent is. They're buying up land. Okay, so now Trump, all right, in response to what the left allowed to happen, is boasting in this new golden dome. Okay, and it's the same goddamn thing as Starlink. This is an aspect of their New World Order and Tower of Babel. Okay, it says, but speculative connections are being made online due to overlapping themes in space, surveillance, and missile defense technology. And who's ultimately going to be surveilled are you people. You're going to have to be linked into this grid. Okay? Trump's Iron Dome. All right. Trump proposed building a U.S. version of Israel's Iron Dome. You see that? A national missile defense shield. Okay? It will rely on satellites, early warning systems, AI-driven targeting, and interceptors. Okay, because there's now a talking point of America being hit with missiles. See that? That's in the air now. Okay? Starlink is a satellite constellation operation by SpaceX, Elon Musk, designed to provide global internet coverage. See, that's what it's hidden under the guise of. But it consists of small satellites, 5,000, he says. It has been used in military and emerging situations, leading to speculation about dual use capabilities, because they're bringing it about as if it's, on one end, we got to get everybody with this internet coverage so that everybody can be, on the grid. But we know what they're doing. But as you can see, let's see here. It's pretty much the same thing. Okay, it's pretty much the same thing, man. Okay, let's go back here. They're doing all. So a lot of people think, well, Starlink is now gone. All of the surveillance talk is gone. No, Trump is heavy into that shit. Okay, remember when he got in office, he brought in a bunch of transhumanist tech guys. Well, he was surrounded by them. And they're all in cahoots to bring about this new world order. Okay, because as a matter of fact, let's get Genesis 11:4. This was the mindset of Nimrod and his minions. They said, let us go build a tower whose top may reach into the heaven. Okay, to escape from judgment, to be able to call on their gods, to be God. All right, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. So they're trying to make a name for themselves. Okay? When you go to this word name, it's Sham or Shem, memorial, monument, reputation, fame, glory. Okay? They're trying to appoint themselves. Okay? The pride of their heart have deceived them. Okay? Constitute, to set, ordain, establish. Okay, and what are they trying to establish? A one world order. All right, and they're all in cahoots. All right, but they just don't agree with who's going to lead it. As a matter of fact, let's get Psalms 83. Psalms, the 83rd chapter, and the second verse. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. All right, because they know who has the blessing, the elites of these countries. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, Ishmael. All right, now did not Trump recently go over, okay, to I forget where he was. He would go over to an Arab country and boasted in how much, putting $600 billion into artificial intelligence. The UAE. Okay, all of these things are happening synonymously. All right, you have all of these scandals, all of these enchantments being thrown at you. But one common narrative and theme that we are able to see is that these Edomites are moving forward, and these heathen are moving forward with their NWO. Okay, so all of them. Okay, it started with Edom, right? But you have the Arabs, you have the so-called African, you have, of course, the Amalekites, which the Edomites are a part of it. As a matter of fact, Esau and Amalek is mentioned in this list. Okay, so they've lifted up their head with this demonic plan, okay, to overtake the Lord's creation, man, and set themselves in a position of where they won't be judged, where they can escape judgment. Okay.
That's because competitors like China and Russia are racing to develop missiles that can maneuver and evade current defenses.
I think innovation is going to continue, and we can't imagine or predict what our competitor nations are going to come up with.
Here's what the Golden Dome could ultimately look like, and why some worry that it will fuel a dangerous arms race in space. To understand why officials say the Golden Dome is needed, you first have to understand how missile technology is advancing. We'll start with the Standard Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, or ICBM, which travels in a high arc. This kind of missile, boosted by a rocket, travels to its peak hundreds of miles above the Earth and then is brought down by gravity. ICBMs are very dangerous. They can carry multiple nuclear warheads and even be shot from submarines. But their trajectory is predictable, making them easier to detect and track with radar. So several defense systems are capable of shooting one of these down. Now, there's a newer and more dangerous intercontinental missile called the Fractional Orbital Bombardment System, or FOB.
Because, again, you have to understand, these Edomites are hearing these prophecies. Let's get Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 50. Let's see here. And 13, because of the wrath of Yahweh, Babylon, it shall never be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate, not the landmass of Basra, man. Okay? You guys, man, everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Put yourself in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. See? So all of these different nations, all right, again, Babylon and Israel are isolating themselves for destruction. Okay, so all of these different nations, there's a mindset of bending the bow and shooting at Babylon. So now you have the mindset of Trump saying, well, we got to defend it, all right, with this Iron Dome or this Golden Dome. Synonymously, you have Elon Musk with this Starlink project. You have the Space Force. So again, these Edomites are up to something, man. Okay, they're tapping into that ancient, the demonic energy. There's all kind of sacrifices going on. The atmosphere doesn't even feel right. I went for a walk the other day. It's like the sun burned me in a way that the sun looks weird, right? The atmosphere looks dull, and the lighting is off when you walk outside. Something is up. Okay, and we can just fulfill it in the wicked or it's mischief going on, man. Okay, Psalms. All right. Chapter 10 and 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So the environment on the earth during the Tower of Babel, right? Which this is Babel. That's where you get the term Babel, Babylon, confusion. Okay. So the Lord sent the angels down to see the tower which the children of men builded, and they're up to the same damn thing again. Okay? So what did the Lord do? He went down and confounded it, man. But when you read Genesis 11 and 4, under Nimrod, which means rebellion or valiant, right? Which the common term in that, all right, Marah, Namorad, Marah, America, Mara, Mur, bitter. America comes from amargo, the Italian word amargo, which means bitter. Mare, this is that place all over again. This is the modern day Nimrod. And he's leading, okay, he's leading a rebellion against the Heavenly Father, okay, because now they have the technology, because you got to understand, these ancient societies possess technology. Even when you look at some of these statues and, you know, sculptures and things that were built in ancient times, like, how did they do it if they didn't have any technology? Well, they had technology back then. Okay, but now technology, pursuant to the book of Daniel, is increased. Knowledge is increasing. Science is increasing. And they're not using it for the good of the people. They're using it to build a digital prison for your ass. But it's under the guise of peace and safety. It's under the guise of, all right, protection. Okay? Again, they are building a digital grid. They're trying to make a name for themselves, man. And synonymously, nothing is being restrained from the people, man. The ideas and the pride is becoming more and more, all right, demonic, heightened. The plans, the talking points, is just getting out of control, right?
These can fly much lower. This kind of weapon is launched into a partial or fractional orbit. Since it doesn't travel in a high arc, the weapon can fly under the radar for much of its flight.
As a matter of fact, they know the missiles are coming. Let's get 2nd Esdras 16. I ain't got this in a minute. And Salaki, I just woke up. I was like, let me get something. The spirit was on me to just do a news lesson. So I just kind of got some videos together, and, you know, whatever comes out, you know, hopefully it edifies. But 2nd Esdras 16. Let's see here. And let's start at 5. Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May a man drive away a hungry lion in a wood, or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it have begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? All right, here we go. Verse 12. Verse 11, the Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea riseth up with the waves from the sea, and the waves of it are troubled. The fishes thereof also. Habakkuk saw this vision. Okay? Therefore the Lord, and before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. What are those arrows, man? All right, the missiles, man. Okay. The scriptures say in the book of Job, damn boy, 20 and 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, the bow of steel shall strike him through. What is that talking about? And we know the elites are going to flee that destruction. So they know it's coming. Again, the scriptures say the king of Babylon in the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Goodness gracious, boy. Let's get it here. Goodness gracious, man. Searching that one be always off, man. Jeremiah 50 and 43, the king of Babylon have heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. So these Edomites very well know what's being said. They know what's being planned, but they're under the orders of the Lord. Their hearts are being hardened. So now they got this talking point of an iron dome, right? Of a golden dome, you know? As a matter of fact, let's play this video here.
For decades, the US and Russia have raced against one another to build powerful missiles capable of entering Earth's orbit and crossing oceans to hit one another. More recently, China has jumped into that missile race through the modernization of its military. No missiles have flown yet. However, the US always needs to do whatever it can to protect itself against the aerial threats Russia and China present. And it's doing just that right now. In a shock announcement, US President Donald Trump says that the US will soon get a Golden Dome shield that will make the country untouchable. Russia and China are stunned. Trump unleashing the Golden Dome may have just made the combined long-range threat irrelevant. On May 20, Trump delivered the news that the US will officially start working on a new Golden Dome air defense system designed to protect the entire country against a range of aerial threats. According to Trump, the new system will be operational in less than 3 years and will achieve a success rate close to 100%. The Golden Dome concept is ambitious and expensive. However, it isn't as surprising as some would make out. The idea of protecting America's skies with a system like this has always been on Trump's mind. Just days after regaining the office of president in January, Trump signed an executive order to build the Iron Dome for America, a new system to counter the next generation aerial threats America's enemies can use against it. The May 20 announcement simply reveals that the system is far closer to being a reality than anybody expected.
Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever.
So, the US plan is clear. Make itself immune to long-range missile threats that Russia and China present. That leads to two questions. Why now? And what's known so far? Starting with the second question, Space Force General Michael Gutlein, who is the vice...
Why now has become the Yahweh Shai is on his way back. Because a lot of that is to weaponize space so that, again, the number, the sixth, all right, sect, as a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll just type in here. All right. Is this linked with the sixth sector of the U.S. military Space Force? Look, I don't know. Shit, just give me... Okay. Man, they going in. Okay, so let's... Yes, in a symbolic strategic sense, the U.S. Space Force, the sixth, that number 6, and newest branch of U.S. military is sometimes portrayed by commentators and theorists as ushering a new kind of golden age, or a Pax, all right, Americana, like you had the Pax Romana, an age where, you know, Rome was enjoying peace. While there's no official doctrine called a golden age, all right, what I was talking about is really the Starlink and, you know, the golden dome linked with Space Force. Let's see what they're talking about. Stability and security, like Pax Romana, the Space Force is designed to secure peace through dominance, especially through space domain. Expansion of, you know, the empire. Rome's golden age was about expanding and securing the empire. Similarly, the Space Force protects expanding U.S. interests in orbit, satellites, lunars, and Mars domains. And there's some crazy doctrine Esau got going on with Mars, you know, occupy Mars. These devils are crazy, man. Let's see here. Roman emperors invoked the golden age under divine order. Modern leaders speak of space dominance as necessary for continued peace. Because again, they're going to fight against the second coming of Yahweh Shai. All of these nations are investing in space. All right. Technology. Okay. So we're here, man. Okay. When Yahweh Shai returns, these heathen are going to what? Use that space force and that space technology that they have to fight against the second coming of the Lord, and they're going to be destroyed, man. This is what's being prepared on the earth. Meanwhile, Israelites are playing games, man. Trying to relocate the lake of fire to the area of Basra. Okay, talking about some hell in the afterlife. You need to be worried about the hell that's being prepared here for the earth right now. And what you need to do to be delivered from it, man.
Chief of Space Operations delivers the most succinct answer. Good line is the man Trump has assigned to make the Golden Dome a reality, and he had this to say about the project.
Our adversaries have been quickly modernizing their nuclear forces, building out ballistic missiles capable of hosting multiple warheads.
And who are their adversaries? Russia, China, Iran. They all anteing up, pursuing the Ezekiel the 38th chapter. So now America's, the Lord put a spirit on America, like we got to ante up.
Building out hypersonic missiles capable of attacking the United States within an hour, traveling at 6,000 miles an hour. Building cruise missiles that can navigate around our radar and our defenses. It's building submarines that can sneak up on our shores. And worse yet, building space weapons.
Translation.
And see, America, their allies are pretty much all divided against them. Let's get Revelation, the 17th chapter, okay? Prophecy is getting ready to be fulfilled. That's why all of this is happening. Revelation 17 and 16. Because of men, again, let's start at 14. These shall make war with the Lamb through their space force. And he shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which thou seest where the whore sitteth, where he wants to sit as a god, ruling over the people, are peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues. And this space satellite, this Starlink thing, will give them control and dominion over all people. All right, gathering to them all people, man. Everyone will be watched on a grid linked with the MOTB. Right? They'll be able to have an eye on everything, man. Okay, and the 10 horns, the EU nations, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall burn her flesh and burn her with fire, because they're going to have insights, because they're all in cahoots with Babylon right now. Okay, these EU and NATO nations, but it's all going to turn against Babylon. All of these nations are going to turn, because right now, verse 17, for God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, and to the words of the Lord should be fulfilled. So they've all agreed to give their kingdom to the beast for the forwarding of Babylon, but now they're fed up with Babylon. Okay, and these very nations are going to join hand in hand with Russia, Iran, China, to shoot missiles on this place and burn her with fire. See that? Burn her with fire. So they're in cahoots to create a scenario, to create a system that will defend them from their fate. See that? Nimrod and them knew about the flood. They were trying to, create a situation where they, if another flood comes, we'll survive it. Trying to outdo the Most High, man. They were even shooting missiles in the air. Okay? When you go into the history, Nimrod and them, one of their mocking points was shooting, not missiles, arrows in the air. Okay? As a mocking the Most High, man. And we're seeing Esau now just shooting, missiles in the air, shooting rocket ships in the air. What the hell are these heathen doing? Huh? Let's see here. Just a thought. Can we link Elon Musk shooting rockets in the air Remember that thing with the women? You had Gail, okay, and a bunch of women, so-called go out of space. That shit was fake as hell, man. It's a mocking the Most High. They're drunk on pride, man. Could we link Elon Musk shooting rockets in the air to Nimrod? To Nimrod shooting arrows in the sky? See what they say. Oh shit. Yes, symbolically, you can draw a metaphorically link between Elon Musk launching rockets, SpaceX, to the biblical figure Nimrod shooting arrows into the sky. Though not historically or theologically literal, all right. Nimrod, the sky challenger. Who was Nimrod? A biblical king, mighty hunter, and Esau's a king and a mighty hunter. All right. Not only a hunter of game, but a hunter of souls. Building the Tower of Babel, which was intended to reach heaven. In later traditions, Nimrod shot arrows at the sky, attempting to defy or challenge the Most High, seen as a symbol of human pride. Okay, and this is why the Lord is going to take this place down. As a matter of fact, let's get Isaiah 14. See, this man these heathen are drunk off pride, man. Okay, Isaiah 14:4. Call Halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushai 144. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? How hath the golden city ceased? And when you look up that word golden, all right, it's ma-da-ba. All right. Boisterous, raging behavior, boisterous behavior, golden city, exactness of gold. And this is that golden city. Okay. And they're drunk off their pride, man. Boisterous, raging behavior, man. Okay. And this is what we're witnessing. This whole talking point of a golden dome is pride involved in it. But at the same time, it fulfills prophecy, man.
Russia and China are getting stronger, and what the US has right now isn't enough to counter that strength. Goodline isn't wrong. Just a couple of weeks ago, China was hinting that it had hypersonic missiles capable of travelling at speeds of up to Mach 20. Those missiles may even be launchable from satellites, ground-based launchers, and other platforms, giving China plenty of options for attacking the US. Russia is also deep into the hypersonic game. National Defense University says that it's currently developing at least 3 hypersonic weapons that are either already operational or are quickly approaching operational status. Russia has been working on these systems since at least 2018, when Russian President Vladimir Putin first announced them, and they, along with the Chinese missiles, represent a clear threat to the US. A threat that the US is no longer going to tolerate.
It is time that we change that equation and start doubling down on the protection of the homeland.
And in this case, Trump appears to have made a good choice to head the project. The Guardian says that Goodline is a 4-star general who is widely considered within the Pentagon as a competent and deeply experienced operator. In particular, he's an expert in the development and procurement of missile defense systems, which is precisely the knowledge needed.
The Edomite is very worried. Okay, in particular, the Edomite of America, the small hat too. They're very worried. Okay, their time is running out, and the Lord is having particular nations make alliances against them. Okay, because their power is in their as the book of Obadiah say, their confederacy. But the men of their confederacy are turning against them. So while America has been so focused on offense, going around the world, putting in this rape, robbery, murder, they forgot to ante up on defense. Okay? And now here they are. Okay? Let's get the book of Jeremiah 51 and 56. Because the spoilers come upon her, even upon Babylon, her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. It's not everything's good. Everything that they were known for, because the mindset of Babylon are great. all right, is the same mindset they had against ancient Rome. Let's get Revelation 13. Even the talking point of Russia, you talk to the average American, we'll blow them to smithereens. They may do this, but, our military, because America's military is something else. Remember, they were blessed with the sword, but, the Russians are also Edomites. Okay, just imagine Russia if France jumped ship. Just imagine Russia if Turkey jumped ship. Right? It's going to be a different ball game, and that's prophetically what's happening. That's what's going to happen. Okay? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and 4, and they worship the dragon, the Western Roman Empire, which is now back through America, which gave power unto the beast. All right? Because America has been at the forefront of the domination of the beast system. Okay? And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? See? That's the mindset of, the American military. Right? But the Lord is weakening that sword. Again, it's going to be partly strong and partly broken, pursuant to Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Because the spoilers come upon her, Jeremiah 51 and 6, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. The Lord God recompenses, all right, and surely requite, all right. The Babylon is going to be paid back. We were talking to the Edomite yesterday, and he basically was like, well, yeah, we did rape, rob, and murder. We did brutalize. Well, there's a payment for that. That's no small thing, what Babylon did. Remember, going back to Revelation 13 and 7, it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given over him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, and they that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. So because of Esau's brutal, dominance, you see, people worship this shit, man. They're like, hey, even the dude said he go take the chip. Many of them don't agree with certain things, but they're like, overall, we've been so dominant. We good. They worship this beast system. But those whose names are written in the book of life don't, man. And if you have an ear, listen to this. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patient and the fate of the saints. So their asses is going into captivity, not no perpetual burning forever and ever and ever. Yeah, they will suffer burning. Yeah, there will be judgment and destruction, which is going to be the greatest judgment the earth has ever seen. But the goal is that you Edomite, y'all are going into captivity. And it's going to start with the elites. All right. But here's the point, Jeremiah 51 and 57, and I will make drunk her princes. Look at Elon. Look at Trump. Okay? All of them. Gil Bates. Listen to these people, man. They're out of there. They're drunk off their own pride. The Lord has the Edomite in a very, very, if you look at him, he's through. See, this is why you need the prophets, man. Because if you didn't have the prophets or the Holy Spirit to guide you, man, you would be looking at Esau like he getting ready to win. No, this nigga is getting ready to lose. I will make drunk her princes and her wise men and her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and shall not wake, saith the king, whose name is Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, man. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon will be utterly broken down. The elder Barak sent this into the chat. This is talking about that golden dome, man. The broad walls of Babylon. Look at the word walls. All right. Chawama. Chawama. A wall. A wall of protection. See that? A wall of protection. And even that iron dome over in Israel, it can be penetrated. Okay? And I believe the missiles will fly before y'all even complete this. Because Trump is saying this will be done by the time, his presidency ends. But again, the walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken. Her high gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. The fire is coming here. And see, the Neo-Babylonian Empire wasn't taken around down with fire like that. So what is this talking about? You go to a scholar, well, no, this ain't talking about ancient Babylon. So they're laboring in vain, man. Look at them.
To make the Golden Dome a reality. With the Golden Dome, the US is communicating a clear message to Russia and China. You may be developing weapons capable of reaching the US at speeds never before seen, but if you ever fire them, the US will have a system in place to stop those missiles in their tracks. Your attacking threat will be neutralized by our defenses, leaving you open to counterattacks. At least, that seems to be the main goal behind the development of the Golden Dome.
See, but it's more than that. It's still tied to that digital grid they want, the modern day Tower of Babel. We're here, man.
But how will that goal be turned into a reality?
And you notice these other camps don't talk about this stuff. This kind of has nothing to do with prophecy in their eyes. A few of them are starting to because there's nowhere else to run. Right?
The first answer to that question is simple. Money. A lot of money. Trump revealed that the Golden Dome will cost around $175 billion to make a reality over the next 3 years. For context, funding for US defense was capped at $895 billion for the 2025 financial year, meaning that the Golden Dome will cost around a fifth of America's annual military budget to build. The US won't be spending that money all at once. As the War Zone, or TWZ, reveals, Trump is aiming to get approval for the first tranche of funding, which is valued at around $25 billion, as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act he's trying to push through. That bill also contained sweeping reforms to taxation and immigration, suggesting that Trump is hoping that his reforms will be enough to sweeten the sour taste of the US being asked to spend so...
Let's see, what is the Big Beautiful Bill? See what that is. What is the big... Because I've seen that. It's like whenever Esau's getting going and it's juicy and you can link these things, Jake pops up with a doctrine. That's usually how it goes, bro. Jake just pops up. You got to deal with Jake, so you kind of get behind on the news. Okay, and you see things and save them, but to tap into all of these things happening. But the Big Beautiful Bill is a reoccurring catchphrase used by Donald Trump. So it's basically describing something he promises to deliver. All right. The Big Beautiful Wall, which is going to be a digital wall. The U.S.-Mexican border wall. All right. One of Trump's signature policies. And they allowed all of those migrants to come over here from that border, which that doesn't mean all of them are just Northern Kingdom. You have many different nations coming in from that border. Okay. But again, he's talking about building a big, beautiful wall, which is going to be a digital wall, digital surveillance, a big, beautiful tax cut. Okay. A big, beautiful health plan. Okay. Repeated promises, but never fully detailed alternative to the Affordable Care of Obamacare, which we know this is all entering you into the MOTB system, a big, beautiful deal. Okay. Use reference trade deals to USMCA, United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, a replacement for NAFTA, big, beautiful military, occasional use to rebuild and expand U.S. military under his administration. Okay. So it's the NWO, but it's all packaged as something to help your ass. Okay. And what does the scripture say? 1 Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Okay? NLT, but you aren't in the dark about these things, dear brothers and sisters, because you have teachers that are constantly warning you about these things. So when you start to see things, you ain't gonna be surprised. Some of these other camps and their followers are gonna be like, "Oh shit, what do we do now? Oh my God, wait a minute, should I take it? What do I do?" Because these devils are getting ready to wage war on your ass. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
So many billions on a new air defense system. But Golden Dome may end up costing a lot more than Trump suggests, says The Guardian. Though $175 billion is the figure provided for building the massive system, based on Trump having already settled on its architecture, the US also has to consider ongoing running costs. After all, an aerial defense system can't do much if it's not stocked up with the missiles and other weapons it needs to blow an enemy's missiles out of the skies. The final price tag for Golden Dome could balloon to $540 billion over the next 2 decades, claims the Congressional Budget Office, meaning President Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative. Dubbed Star Wars by the media and many of Reagan's critics, that system never came close to achieving its goals.
So what was Reagan's Star Wars? What was Reagan's Star Wars plan? And the Lord has given us the ability to tap into AI to just simplify certain things, and that we can just bring it out. Because we only have, an hour or so, certain videos. So, the Lord's dealing, man. Reagan's Star Wars plan refers to a strategic defense initiative, a highly ambitious missile defense program that in 1983 that aimed to protect United States from nuclear missile attacks, especially from the Soviet Union. Boom. All right. But it also was talking about, it was also talking about, is it related to today's space or Iron Dome? Yes. Okay. But he was talking about, did Reagan also speak of being attacked by aliens? Yes, Ronald Reagan did publicly speak about the idea of an alien threat. Not to claim it was real, but a theoretical concept. Yeah, right. They know what's coming. And there ain't no such thing as no damn alien. It's the angels of the Lord, baby. Okay, because CERN is cranked back up. Okay, these devils got a lot going on, man.
Says TWZ. However, it was also a system the US was trying to build with 1980s era technology. Over 4 decades later, the US is likely in a better position to make the space portion of the Golden Dome a reality. As for what that space-based aspect of the system will look like, it can be broken down into missiles and satellites.
And this stuff is already being built. Remember, a lot of times when they put stuff on the news, 60 years ago, they already had the technology. Okay, this is how they keep the control the narrative and keep people's perspective dumbed down. But this is why we tap into prophecy, man. But again, let's read this again. Jeremiah 51 and 58. I started 57. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men and her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep. They retarded. They threw. Verse 58. Thus said the Lord, the broad walls of Babylon shall be broken. Her high gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain. See that? They're going to be through, man. See if we can get a pre to that. Verse 15, Jeremiah 50. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations have fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord to take vengeance upon her. As she have done, do unto her. All right. Synonymously, you getting ready to be led into all kind of conflicts via Israel. So we're in a good place, man, prophetically, to where we can just watch, man. We're in the driver's seat. That's why ain't no you used to Edomite walk up, you screaming, "You got me that stride!" Just we're in the driver's seat. All we have to do is just continue to do what we've been doing, and it's all working out. These Edomites are through, man.
On March 20, TWC reported on comments made by Chief of Space Operations General Chance Saltzman when he was speaking about the yet-to-be-announced Golden Dome. He said that the US needs to look toward building space interceptor missiles with a twist. It's not just that we want space-based interceptors, Saltzman said. We want them in the boost phase. We want them to achieve their effects as far from the homeland. So they've got to be fast, they've got to be accurate. A missile's boost phase is the first of 3 phases that propelled the Weapon 17 that Musk company, SpaceX, was the frontrunner among a group of organizations that are trying to land the contract to build the satellites the Golden Dome needs. Reuters says that 6 people familiar with the Golden Dome project have all confirmed that SpaceX is currently working alongside a pair of partners to build key...
There you go. He got the SpaceX Dragon. Okay? you can look that up, the SpaceX Dragon. The SpaceX Dragon is a family of spacecraft used by commercial resupply, yada, yada, yada. All right, but it's the Dragon. Again, war in heaven, man. Don't you get it? See, all of that mythology you Israelites running around with, it's not holding up to prophecy, man. Okay, ain't no giant serpent, people ruling the earth. Edomites are ruling the earth, which are the seed of the serpent, man. Okay, this chapter in Revelation 12 is telling just the way they tried to Herod tried to off the Messiah. They're going to try to fight against him when he comes back. All right, Revelation 12:7, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels, and they prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. Their rulership. Okay, let's look up this word heaven. It said the idea of elevation, Orenos, like Uranus. Okay. The vaulted expanse of the sky, the third universe, the world, sky region where the clouds and the tempests gather. And they go, that's when Yahweh shall return, because let's get it. Let's get Revelation 7 or 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. They also which pierced him. And who pierced him? Those Roman soldiers, man. See that? That same military system is going to be in place when he returns. See that? They also which pierced him. Elon could have been one of those Roman soldiers, man. Right? John 19:34, but one of the soldiers with the spear pierced his side, and forthwith came out blood and water. See that? So the power structure that was in place, that it was the Western Roman Empire, that kingdom eventually fell and now was reborn through the Renaissance unto now, but they also which pierced him are going to see him. So when he cometh in the clouds, okay, the dragon and his angels are going to fight. There's going to be a war in heaven. Don't you get it? Okay, don't you get it? Heaven can also represent a mountain. But the elite, okay, and they already have it's already set, okay? They ain't working on it. It's happening. They are working on certain aspects of it, but they already got their minds made. They already know what's coming, man. The war in heaven, all right, which you can go to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. It's being prepared, man. I had my mind to go into AI as well, but I'm going to do that in another lesson because I'm going to end this one here in a minute. But this 2nd Esdras 13. in 32, and at the time when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I have showed thee before, then shall my son be declared, who thou sawest a man ascending. He cometh with clouds, in the clouds. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have against one another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them willing to come, and shall overcome him by fighting. See that? That's it. So, let's see here. So we're in beautiful times, man.
Key aspects of the Golden Dome, including its satellite constellation. Those partners include Palantir, which develops software, and a drone manufacturer named Anduril. SpaceX itself will likely handle the satellites, with the other two being responsible for the software the entire Golden Dome system uses.
The dragon and his angels, man. And what's going to happen? Let's get Isaiah 31. I'm hungry in the morning. Sheesh. But I'm going to fast. Let me give me another 2 hours. I'll break it. This is Isaiah 31 and 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses are flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, Yahweh Shai, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall all fail together. So the Egyptians have their power, but it's not associated with the spirit of the right hand. So man, we about to see a lot, man. Okay, through the Holy Spirit. Yeah, this is about AI. I don't need to go into that one. Because they're getting ready to wage war. Again, this biometric system, as a matter of fact, what they're trying to do with this system as well. Let's see here. There's another one I had real quick. I thought I had it. There's this eye scanning system. I thought I had it, but we'll bring it out in another, let's see. Could have swore I just saw it. Let's just listen to this one.
Health Organization adopted its first international pandemic agreement during the 78th World Health Assembly in Geneva on Tuesday to bolster global cooperation in preventing and responding to future pandemics.
And the World Health Organization approving a groundbreaking treaty on pandemic preparedness. 124 countries backed the agreement, requiring pharma companies reserve 20% of production for pandemic treatments. The treaty won't take effect until countries finalize pathogen sharing protocols. It aims to prevent the supply inequities witnessed during COVID.
All right, so they getting ready to come with something. Here we go again. Right? As you can see here, you know, they seized global power, legally binding, and remember what the logo of this organization is. It's that serpent on the pole. This is nothing but that old serpent at work. But we know Trump talked about leaving, all right, this treaty, right? Let's go here. And this is not medical information. Again, we're just going in the news.
So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped it.
You remember the news, you know, Trump, he signed an executive order, you know, for America to withdraw from this, you know, this, right, you know, but again, as you read this article, it says, all right, who that just signed a sweeping and legally binding treaty granting itself unprecedented authority over global responses, surveillance, and censorship. You don't think none of this stuff is going to be used that we seeing? It's really all one order. They're just bringing it about under different names, guides, you know, like, come on, man. And despite efforts to exit, the U.S. remains locked in until 2026, thanks to Joe Biden-backed amendments, all right, that tether Babylon to this unelected global regime. So what if something happens before 2026? Will America be bound to the ramifications of what they're trying to do? Okay. Perhaps the most concerning of this treaty is a 24/7 global surveillance system, centralized data sharing, and the censorship of so-called misinformation. In other words, who that, not national governments, who will have the final say over what information is safe. So we already know where this is going, but don't get it twisted. Babylon is still locked into this for a time. And even if they withdraw, they still is going to be something else. They're going to bring something else. These devils, they never stop. They're always up to no good. Okay? There's even another strain. Let's go here. Let's jump to...
Thank you for joining us. ABC News reporter Leslie Brinkley looks into
what does that say right there? A new variant.
what we can expect going into the summer and then the fall.
COVID-19 is still evolving, and scientists are keeping close tabs on NB.1.
It's not medical information.
1.8.1, a substrain detected in China last month, and now it's circulating in the Bay Area.
It has been reported.
So it's the same play. Niggas eating curry bat wings, all right, in China. And now it's the same damn thing, man.
In Europe, and it's been reported here in the U.S. We've seen it here in our wastewater. We've seen it here in California in wastewater.
So they're getting ready to wage war on the people. Again, we know what Revelation, the 12th chapter says, man. And 12 and 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, man. So call hello, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. I'm going to just leave it there. We'll get into the other articles and stuff I had, because there's a lot happening, man. We'll get into this AI, this A03 or whatever thing they got going on. We're living in some crazy times, man, but hopefully I will edify. Shalom.